What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate reverse rants, no hate. So, due to request, let me do a quick breakdown on Canelo Alvarez versus Caleb Plant. Now, Canelo, we imagine is going to come out walking Caleb Plant down. Caleb mostly fights on the back foot. I don't know that he's stronger than Canelo to walk him down because there's certain things that if he was able to walk him down, if he is strong enough to, like, I don't mean so much try to push him walk, like, come forward and his stylistically, I mean, and it tying him up and walking him down. The way Holyfield was doing Tyson, the way, Tyson Fury was doing Wilder, that type of thing. That type of thing. I don't know if he's able. I mean, if it's a tactic in itself to even be able to know how to do that properly. So I don't know if he can do that without putting himself in harm's way. Let me get off of that for a minute and get back to it. Tie it into what I'm saying. I feel like what Caleb Plant is going to have to do to really be successful. For one, we know he's going to fight on the back foot and not take big bombs early. Anyway, at any point you don't want to, he doesn't want to just take unnecessary bombs. And what I mean by that is pretty much when you're not ready to punch, you shouldn't just be standing there. Canelo is quick. He's very tricky. Canelo likes to break you down from the body from like round one. Early in the fight, he's going to go to the body. He's going to mix it up. He's going to give you, a different variation of head and body. He's not going to just, he's not known for doing just one thing. Once he gets in and starts letting his hands go, his punch selection, he's accurate, and he's like, once he knows you don't want to really engage with him, the less you do, the more Canelo will do. You give Canelo angles. Canelo is people, when they talk about him cutting the ring off, it's really not so much Canelo cutting off the ring. It's really him just walking his opponents down patiently. Them anticipating what's coming back, not knowing, because he's so patient. He'll leap in with that left hook. He'll leap in with it like he'll throw it from a weird kind of, he'll kind of lean to the side and throw it. He'll throw it to the head or to the body. And when he does come in, he's just pump faking with his jab, and then he'll get you back to the ropes and start working on you. And like against Billy Joe Saunders, for example, he knows that Billy Joe was trying to move and keep his distance. He was giving Canelo angles. And if you look in those rounds where pretty much where Billy Joe was letting his hands go and moving, Canelo wasn't doing that much. And even in commentary, I remember one of the commentators saying if Canelo was going to, resort to using, mostly power shots, you're going to have to be busier. And that's the thing. Canelo paces himself. One of the worst things a fighter can do is just going in and throw punch after punch after punch. They're putting out this high out punch, punch output, but they're not landing most of them. So what's happening is he's conserving his energy and being wise with his shot selection. So even if the fight is close, once you start getting tired because you're throwing all these punches, Canelo's going to start getting busy. And basically, I feel like he needs to offset Canelo's rhythm. Don't let him get comfortable. Double, triple jabs when he needs to do it. You have to do it every second in the round. Just, double, triple jabs. Keep the distance. Shoot a jab to the body, slide out. Make Canelo uncomfortable. Make Canelo desperate to try to knock you out. People that don't know, they'll say, oh, no, you don't want that. No, you do. If you make him fight desperate, you can make him run into some shit. Not only can you make him run into some shit, you can start to swallow his eyes. You can cut him. You can, if you're not willing to engage, and at least, to try to mix it up with him. At least be accurate, land your shots, and excuse me, even when you pump faking and you moving. What Billy Joe Saunders was doing wrong most of the time is he started going back in a straight line. So even though he's pumping the jab out just to keep distance, Canelo knows he's not trying to land anything. Canelo leaped in, bang, get him to the body, go up to the head, get him the back straight up into the ropes, and he's going to work on him. You remember when Canelo started doing this to the crowd and everything? Yeah, he's getting confident. His confidence is growing. Okay, I'm getting him now. It's kind of like one of those Komodo dragons, right? They bite their prey, and the prey takes off. And that dragon knows instinctively, what does he do? Same as a snake, right? They'll watch. And they just go down that same trail, right? Slowly but surely. And guess what? That dead body's laying there waiting for him to feast on. And that's pretty much how Canelo fights. He's patient. He's calm. And when Canelo gets to the point where he's starting to do, 2-3 piece combinations at you, 3-4, punch combinations at you, that usually means nothing's coming back at him. Canelo doesn't do the Mike Tyson thing. He doesn't go in and just trade bombs with you. That's not what Canelo does. He gets in there, he moves his head, and he's patient and he's calm. When I watched the Billy Joe fight, I remember one guy said he had it at one point in the fight. He had it like Canelo up by 2 rounds. The other commentator said he had it the other way around in favor of Billy Joe. Now, for people that say he has to knock Canelo out to win, people was getting this, wrong. If you're saying he has to knock Canelo out to win because you don't think that they're going to give Caleb a decision, because no one is imagining him just giving a master class of boxing, and we've seen plenty of robberies anyway, so I get that. But if you're saying the only way he can beat Canelo is to knock him out, that's probably going to be the least likely to happen. So if you're saying that, what you're basically saying is Caleb really doesn't have a chance. You catch a guy right, you can get him out of there. Okay, and whether it's because he's fatigued and it's the later rounds, the one thing that Caleb has always done is he starts to fade in the later rounds. And Caleb has respectable power. He's not I don't agree with that he's a soft puncher. No, he has respectable power. Nobody's ever ran through Caleb either. And people, but he ain't fighting. No, stop that nonsense. Caleb has respectable power. Okay. He doesn't have the kind of power that Canelo has to really worry about. This is why he has to be accurate. He has to be consistent, and he has to give Canelo angles, not be there to just get hit with unnecessary shots. Billy Joe did a lot of that several times. In fact, even the one that messed his eye up, standing there, backing up, hands, in the wrong position, squaring up. He's not ready to punch. You should not be there. And the fact that Caleb fights on the back foot. Now, you're not going to get points. You're not going to get the judge's favor for sure if you're just fighting on the back foot, but you're not really landing anything meaningful. You're not trying to take the fight to him. For the people that saying, oh yeah, he got to fight the way Floyd did. No, he doesn't have what Floyd is. Caleb is not on Floyd's level. Let's not be stupid. He's not as nearly as good as what Floyd was. Floyd Mayweather was able to stand in front of Canelo, and he even had Canelo backing up at times. And he pretty much fought the majority of the fight at a stalemate with Canelo. Accuracy. Again, Floyd has respectable power. Accuracy. The shot coming, like, I don't see the shots coming. There's times he caught Canelo, he pissed him off, and Canelo tried to jump in. And Floyd and Caleb were 2 different people, okay? And I'm only saying that because of the people that's talking about he has to fight in the way Floyd did. It's 2 different styles. And just like they're saying, it's going to be like Saunders, him versus Billy Joe Saunders. Caleb and Billy Joe are different, and for one, Billy Joe Saunders is a southpaw, and people feel like, oh no, it's not good for a southpaw to throw jabs. is ineffective against an orthodox fighter. That's bullshit. It depends on the fighter. Okay, I've seen Pernell Whitaker jab you to death and work off that jab and give you angles and box circles around people. So I don't want to hear that shit about, that's people who don't know. Okay. If you're going by the southpaws that's out here now, yeah, that may be true with these southpaws that's out here now. But no. Look, let's be perfectly honest about everything surrounding this fight. The majority of the people watching this fight are pretty much just wanting to see how fast Canelo's going to destroy Caleb Plant. This is what the expectations are. Now, Caleb has a lot of tools in his shed. How he used them, just like Billy Joe had them. How he used them come fight night is what it's going to come down to. Canelo Alvarez is going to do what he does. Now, is he going to come out and pace himself like he normally does? I believe so. And a lot of times people don't understand when they're saying, oh, Canelo doesn't have stamina issues anymore. And they're saying because he trains his ass off. I believe Canelo trains his ass off, as he should. But if you watch his fight style, Canelo paces himself. What Canelo does when he feels like, when a fight is close, Canelo is going to constantly try to, chop at you. Look at the fight that he had with Kovalev. The judges, they had Canelo behind in that fight. Canelo kept his poise, kept calm, just kept coming, kept chopping at him till he finally got him in the 11th round. And people were saying, oh, that fight was fixed. And no, you don't let somebody hit you that clean. If it's gonna be a fix, you'd be stupid to stand there and let somebody catch you the way he caught Kovalev. Like, that's bullshit. Like, I don't believe that. Canelo just did what he had to do. But the reality is, when you're fighting a guy, excuse me, and the hype behind him is nobody can beat him, he's unbeatable. They go into the ring thinking that. They go into the ring with that confidence, feeling like can't nobody beat me. So once you get in there and start fighting on the back foot, for one, then two, you don't have like really huge power for him to really worry about. He's going to try to take his will away. He's going to try to work Caleb's body early. He's going to try to mix it up early, head, body, head, and he's going to try to get Caleb to go to the ropes. That's one thing Caleb really should not do. And I feel like if he starts tying Canelo up, he's probably going to get points deducted. I'm pretty sure his corner's going to complain. The guy keeps holding. There was a time when boxers knew how, when they back hit the rope, slide down left or right. Get out the way, move. I don't know how sharp, Caleb is going to be. We don't know how sharp Canelo is going to be. We just know what the expectations are. But I think that for Canelo to fight the way he normally does, how we're used to seeing him, if you jump off the bandwagon and look at it, okay, from an observer's point of view versus a fan point of view, the same way he takes advantage when you slow down, when you're not doing the same thing that was working for you, Caleb is going to have to do the same thing. It's working. Let me keep doing it. Let me stay consistent with it. When he starts reaching and he does the same thing where, let's say, like he reaches with that body shot, he's going to not only have to get out the way of that shot, but he's going to have to basically find a way to make Canelo miss and make him pay. He's going to have to give Canelo something to worry about. That's what was working for Floyd as well, because Floyd would make him miss, but he was catching him and he was frustrating him. And but he's better now. Look, he's a human being. He's not an alien. He's not a robot. Not a monster. He's a man. You have to have a game plan, but you also can't be afraid to make plays that's not in the playbook. If you go there robotically thinking, okay, I'm going to do this, and you have to make adjustments to what's actually happening in the ring. And I think between the two of them, because Canelo has far more experience and has fought better opposition, he's probably better at making those adjustments than Caleb is. Caleb has never had, those different styles in front of him like Canelo's seen so many styles. But you just don't know what's going to happen come fight night. Now, I'm not the person that, oh, I'm guaranteeing, no, because, I'm looking at it, like I said, it's not about favoritism or who I want to win or whatever. This is all about just looking at it from the way I see it. Canelo, like I said, is smart because he fights in a way where he's not. If you watch him, Canelo throws punches to try to catch you, to try to trap you. He tries to throw a shot because if you notice, Tyson was good with that shit too, where he'll throw the shot to the body, and when he throws it to the head, he leans. Why? Because when he throws it this way, that's the way your body's gonna go. So when he throws this shot up, more than likely people are trying to cover up for the body and they leave it open. They leave that head open, or vice versa. And that's when Canelo will start to throw his punches. You can steal rounds like that when rounds are close, nothing's going on, and then you just boom, boom, boom. And especially when you're landing power shots, the judges look at that. So I could imagine everybody who's involved in this fight from both sides are gonna try to give the best pointers and give the best work that they can give to these fighters to get the win. But truthfully, for anybody, Caleb would be stupid. Just anybody to go into a fight thinking the way the fans are thinking. Oh man, I can't beat this guy. I don't have a chance. Of course he's not going to think like that. Go into this fight understanding you might get cut, you might get broken jaw, you might get hurt, but you got to go in there willing to understand. I have to follow my game plan, but make adjustments when necessary. Because a lot of times when you go in there, you expect the guy to fight a certain way, and then all of a sudden they're doing different things now. So we don't know. Now, what I'm expecting from Caleb Plant is to see some different things from him. Angles would definitely have to be one of them. Throwing punches when Canelo doesn't expect the shot to come. Not squaring up and standing there when you're not ready to punch. And like I said, taking unnecessary blows by doing just that. Standing there, you're not ready, and all of a sudden Canelo comes with a hard shot. Canelo's going to try to break you down early. And Caleb Plant doesn't have that punishing type of power. He has that stinging type power. So for him, like I said, double, triple jabs, angles. Don't be there when you're not ready to punch. Stay off the ropes. When you on the ropes, if you slide, move. Canelo wants to catch and shoot. Caleb is going to have to catch and shoot. You don't need to try to stand there and trade to try to prove anything to the fans. It's not about that. But there's going to be times where he's going to have to throw 2 3-piece combinations. He's going to have to catch him out there and mix it up. Don't be predictable. Don't do the same things over and over and over. And Canelo will adjust to what you're doing. And if Caleb Plant can make adjustments, that's the necessary adjustments. So even though I'm saying Canelo has the experience and the edge over him in that, if he can adapt and do it and make it work, then that's what he's going to need to do. No fighter should ever go into a ring thinking the way the fans are thinking. Like, oh man, I can't beat this guy. When people say things like, Deontay, he says, my opponent's got to be perfect for 12 rounds. I got to be perfect for just a second. But then you step up in competition, and it's like, oh shit, this guy's still here. What happens now? Where's your plan B? Where's your plan C? So you can't go into a fight, like even when you go into a fight feeling like I can beat everybody. Nobody can beat me. That's all well and good. But if you have a skill set, you have a lot of tools in your shed, you need to use them. But when it gets to the point where you're used to fighting, guys and they just, you're able to break their will, or you're able to, catch them with something and get them out of there after being outboxed all night, you never know what's going to happen. Each fight is different. So for people that's saying that, like I said, that's saying that this is going to be just the same thing as fighting Billy Joe Saunders, no, it's not. It's not the same fight. It's not the same fight. You just have 2 fighters that fight on the back foot, that are boxers, that don't have huge power, but they do have respectable power. And I was watching the Billy Joe fight. I was watching the Kovalev fight. Canelo made the adjustment with the reach, the height to get around the shot. He caught him. That fight with Kovalev, it wasn't a lot going on. Kovalev was busy, but Kovalev is slow. Kovalev doesn't have fast hands. He has a big punch, but he doesn't have fast hands. That's definitely one edge that Canelo had from the start is the speed. But Canelo was behind that jab. He couldn't get in within his reach. He wasn't able to get in earlier, throughout the fight. But when he was able to get in, he was effective when he caught him and he got him out there. That's what mattered. So the thing is not to become complacent. If Canelo, which Canelo is usually just relentless with constantly coming in, he's always walking you down. But when you give him angles and he's offset, that's what Canelo has problems with. That's one thing that people always overlook. They're like, oh, Canelo, he's seen it all. Yeah, but he's been able to make the adjustment so far. But it's the angles. When you stand right in front of him and you pretty much are doing the same things over and over, he's going to time you. But at the same time, you have to understand, if he gets complacent with doing the same things, walk you down, rip to the body, rip up and try to get you to the ropes, you have to make the adjustments and the same way. And you got to make Canelo miss, make him pay. You have to also understand that he can get tired as well. And why I said earlier, why you need to make him frustrated to where he's trying to knock you out is because now you're going to make him throw more punches than he wants to throw. And he's going to be desperate for the knockout to the point where visitors, unwanted guests now. No, but yeah, it's basically the type of thing where you have two guys that can box, and you got to look at, like, for example, I remember when Amir Khan fought Canelo, and people said, what you think going to happen? I said, unless Canelo just jump out the gate and catch him quick, I see Amir Khan moving, throwing his punches. You know how Amir Khan throw those praying mantis looking shots, like he, and he tries to stay away. I said, I see him outboxing Canelo until Canelo catch him, and then as soon as Canelo catch him clean, it's over. Exactly what happened. Okay. But we know Amir Khan does not have a sturdy beard. He has heart, but he doesn't have a sturdy beard. We know that. Different people that I've watched Canelo fight against Triple G. The first fight, Canelo was the one on the back foot. Now, even though, Canelo changed his game plan in the second fight, Triple G, see, this is the thing about a mindset, okay? Canelo can punch. Triple G can punch. What made Triple G decide to allow Canelo to walk him down in the second fight? This is what I mean about not becoming complacent and expecting the guy to do just like what you normally see them do, where they might switch something up. So plan B, plan C. Certain level fighters, okay, you can have great fighters, but certain fighters can make those adjustments within the fight. Now, a lot of people, if not most, felt like Triple G won that first fight. Rematch, was different. It was different. Chris Algieri, okay, who's not a big puncher, fought against Amir Khan, who is a big puncher and faster than Chris Algieri. People felt like Chris Algieri won that fight. But again, Chris Algieri, who's not a big puncher, decides he's going to walk Amir Khan down. What made Amir Khan decide, I'm going to allow him to walk me down? Mindset. They didn't expect Chris Algieri to do that. You've never seen anybody make Mike Tyson fight on the back foot. You've never seen people make Rocky Marciano fight on the back foot. There's certain fighters, that You can't get in their heads that way. Evander Holyfield was able to tie Mike up and then push him backwards. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if that is going to work for Caleb Plant. Like if he's going to exert a lot of energy, because I don't know that he's physically stronger. Holyfield is physically stronger than Mike Tyson. Tyson Fury, okay, was a lot heavier, excuse me, than Deontay Wilder. They didn't expect Deontay Fury to do what he did. So this is what I'm saying. As a fighter, your mindset has to be, I got everything covered, you know, from A to R. I want everything covered from A to Z. I want to be able to adjust, adapt. Okay, I see what he's doing. You have to be able to do that within the fight. Floyd was the king of that shit. Whatever you're doing, once he gets, okay, I see, he just shuts you down. You know, people will say, oh, Floyd's a slow starter. No, he's not a slow starter. He's smart. He's observing what you're doing. And basically a lot of people, what they're used to is when you have certain fighters that have a high, punch output, and they start coming out and they're used to like just getting guys out of there. You notice when these guys get in there with a smart fighter, it's completely different, which is why I always said, when you guys say Floyd can't punch and all he does is run, all this bullshit, it's like, how do you lose to a guy like that then? How's your face all bumped up and lumped up and, bruised from a guy like that? It's easier said than done. A lot of fights, you look at fighters and from the outside looking in, people think, oh, all you got to do is this and this. And how many guys try and they can't do it? And Canelo is also in a position of being an all-time great, okay? Because he's starting to get the same thing that Floyd got, and other fighters, like where to the point where they start picking people from the past, who you think would have won, to the point where it's like they don't see anybody right now that they think can beat these guys. So they got to go bring up the Ray Leonards, the Marvin Haglers, the Ray Robinsons, and stuff like that. That is the type of situation where, look, Canelo's a flat-footed fighter. I watch him and he'll come in, he move his head, he'll, keep his hands up high, which is smart. And Canelo gets on angles where he's comfortable throwing punches from an angle where you don't expect him to throw a shot from. But if you watch him, he does these things, and I'm looking for it. Like, I'm knowing, he's like instinctively, here it comes. So as an opponent of him, these are the things you gotta look for. But you gotta also understand what makes him uncomfortable. You have to exploit that. You don't have to go in there and try to pull a Pacquiao and throw 100 punches around. Okay, most fighters can't do that anyway. But you have to go in there. You have to go in there with the mindset of understanding. It's a fight. I don't expect it to be easy, but I'm going to go in there and I'm going to go and stick to my game plan, like I said, and make the necessary adjustments within the fight. So, until we get the results of the fight, which I'm not worried about, people. If Canelo destroys him, people are going to say, I told you, I knew it. Okay, well, he had something Canelo wanted. Canelo had something he wanted. The fight had to happen. It's not about I told you so. That's the petty side of it. If Canelo loses, I don't see them giving Caleb Plant, honestly, a close decision win. It's like you have to dominate in order to get the win. I don't even see them calling the fight a draw. You know what I'm saying? If he was to go in there and like it's a clear win, and let's say there's no knockdowns, for example, but it's a clear win, they still might not give it to him. And that's why I said, for the person that was talking to me that was saying they don't see, like, they think the only way he can beat Canelo is to knock him out. And I'm saying, well, if he knock him out, then he win for sure. But to say that that's the only way he can beat him, as if he can't box with Canelo, then no, then you're saying he don't have a chance, because it's not that, like I said, you catch a guy right, you can get him out of there. But that's the one thing I don't think anybody really imagined him doing, is knocking Canelo out. However, if Caleb Plant wins the fight and he gets the win, this is why I separate myself from fans. Like, I'm not a fan of anybody's. If he gets a clear win, biased fans are going to still say he lost. Why? Simply because he fights on the back foot. So nowadays, when you fight on the back foot, you're a runner. You're running. Oh, all he did was run. Okay. If he gets a close win, which I really don't see that happening. I don't really see that happening. But let's say if he got a close win decision, the diehard fans are going to say, "Oh, since when do you give well, they both champions, but since when do you give the B-side guy a win in a close fight?" So you're going to get all of that. If he wins, if it's a clear win, biased fans are still going to say he lost. So regardless to that, he can't focus on what the people are thinking. He has to go in there and stick, do what he has to do. It's as simple as that. Now, regardless to who wins, I just hope it's a good fight. Hope it's a great fight. I want to see it. And when you look at who's next, it's going to be the same mentality from the fans all the time. Even people who don't want to, even people that don't think Canelo, who don't want to see him win, they still think like none of these guys can beat him. You see what I'm saying? So, if Caleb beats him clearly, expect to hear, "Oh man, I think it's because Canelo's getting old now, man. A lot of wear and tear on his body." You expect to hear stuff like that, but that doesn't matter. The outcome is going to be the outcome. Hopefully, there's no robberies. Hopefully, there's no shady business, none of that. Whoever wins, I want to see a clean winner. Whether it's by knockout, decision, early, late, whatever, I want to see a clean winner. Not something where, oh, there's going to be a rematch. It's that's one thing that I don't like about boxing. There's several things I don't like, but this one thing particular is when a fight is where the B side wins, they call it a draw just to want a rematch. It's like I really don't like that at all, man. I don't. I don't agree with the way they score fights a lot of times. And I don't think just because you're the aggressor that means that you automatically won the fight. I mean, if a guy's fighting on the back foot, but he's clearly tattooing your face up, he's winning, he's piecing you up, then how do you just get the victory? So this whole thing of you have to be dominant is unfair in a way, because it's like, look at Sugar Ray Leonard fighting against Marvin Hagler. And Sugar Ray could punch, but now we're talking about middleweight. So Marvin Hagler has felt punches heavier than Sugar Ray's. You understand what I'm saying? So I remember in that fight, the Marvin Hagler fans were saying, "Oh, Sugar Ray did was run all night. He ain't even stand there and fight." Like, why would he stand there and fight? And Sugar Ray himself said, Marvin Hagler says to him in the fight, "Stop running like a little bitch and stand here and fight me." And he looked at him and said, we've seen Terrence Crawford fight guys, and they're telling him, "Stand, fight me." And he stick his tongue out at him, shake his head. No, it's not running. It's boxing. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I just want to see a great fight. I did this video as a request. Someone asked me to do a breakdown between the two, and again, I don't get emotional getting my feelings about two grown ass men. Whoever wins wins. It doesn't bother me anyway. Like I said, as long as it's clean, there's no shady shit going on, and because that's the stuff that make me don't even want to watch fights at times. Because once you have a reputation as the guy, unless you get knocked out or really destroyed, especially if your opponent is not seen as being marketable, or they're not that well known, they feel like even though he won the fight, I don't see him drawing a big crowd like this guy and stuff like that. So those type of things Caleb got going against him. But the fight itself and what he has to do, just like any fighter, you got to go in there and try your best to win. Pause. So anyway, hopefully it's a good card. Hopefully whatever's going on in Andre Ward, with Andre Ward in the corner of Caleb, they can get him prepared so we have a good fight. You know, hopefully what's going on over there in Canelo, you know, his camp, that again, like, these guys can get in there and give a great fight, man. And that's what it's about for me. So y'all know Aries don't do that fanboy shit. You know, I don't do that, you know, sitting there crossing my fingers hoping this guy win or lose or whatever. Whatever happens, happens. It doesn't affect my life in a negative way or a positive way, other than just, hey, I saw a great fight. That's it. On to the next one. So anyway, never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings hate out of people, and I will catch y'all on the next video.